Hey guys, and welcome back to the Geeks and Multiverse channel for the very first episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. This is a new thing that we're trying that you might have seen if you saw our WandaVision spoiler cast, as opposed to breaking it down. It just makes things a lot easier if we do an after show. Now, typically an after show would be after the show, which technically it still is, but we're running a little late as usual. So, as always, I'm joined here today by Will.
Hey guys.
So, without further ado, let's get into it. What did you think?
It was a really solid start to the series. I mean, I was never as invested in it as much as WandaVision because I don't know, that I prefer the multiverse stuff and crazy stuff to the more grounded MCU things. But no,
Yeah,
I'm not saying I don't like it. I just don't like it as much. But it was a really good start to the series.
yeah, it was. It was kind of like I can definitely get the sense that this is going to be a bit more of a slow burn.
Oh
Definitely more of
yeah.
a slow burn.
Well, they're all there's only 6 episodes of it as well. So
And I think as is the nature with anything, like even things like Loki, which will be more multiverse based anyway. I feel like anything compared to WandaVision will be slow burn, considering that was literally changing everything by the episode. Like it was episodic to the extent where it was like completely different from week to week. So, I'm with you on the whole. Like, I love the wackier side of the MCU where they really dive into the comic stuff. But equally, I really like this because as a fan of like Marvel TV and like some of the other grounded films and stuff like that, as well as the bigger ones, it was cool to see. I think the way is best to put it, it was like it felt like real. It felt real. It felt like we were following real people. And if you were to take away like the bird suit and the metal arm, like this could be like a Sky One show or a Netflix show or something, just about some random people who've been in the war and stuff like that. Like it was cool.
it just goes to show how diverse the MCU can be with this stuff.
Absolutely,
Like you go
absolutely.
from Guardians of the Galaxy and Avengers Endgame to Captain America Civil War and the first Avenger. So it's quite crazy, really.
I'm definitely getting Winter Soldier vibes from this in terms of the movie, The Winter Soldier, not just the character who's very clearly in the show.
That's not the
Uh,
only link though. That something I actually didn't realize. So at the beginning where there's the guy on the plane,
yeah,
the guy who was fighting. I knew I recognized him, but I didn't realize that he's the guy from Winter Soldier at the beginning.
yeah, Batroc the Leaper, also known as George Batroc.
Yeah, I didn't. I recognized him. I didn't know where from, and then I realized that it's him. So I mean, it's starting off the same way. But I'm guessing that he survives again because we don't see him die or anything. He just falls out of a plane and flies
I
off.
think I think he's too D-list to die. Like he's the kind of character that can just show up in every season, just being like, "This fucking guy again."
Yeah,
It's like, come on.
he's not. He's not too unimportant to die, but he can just show up. And you're like, oh, I know this guy. He's not dead again.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of like how we feel when we play Marvel's Avengers, and it's like, oh,
True.
fucking Warbot again, really?
God damn it.
This thing again? Okay,
Hey,
we're
robots.
Avengers. Let's do this.
Oh no.
So speaking of that scene, like that was probably the most MCU part about this episode in the terms of like it felt very much like the Independence Day sort of canyon sequence where it's like it was pretty cool to see what he's really capable of doing with those wings. Like we
Oh,
haven't really seen that to
oh
that
god, yeah.
extent.
I love that sequence. That was really cool. To actually see Falcon showing off some of his abilities. We haven't seen much of that in the MCU really. Like
Yeah, definitely.
he hasn't had too much to do yet, and it's cool that they're actually showing off what he can do.
Because he's a really cool character. I think they just need to, and which they are doing, and which is really cool about these. What's really cool about these Disney Plus shows is that we do get to see these sort of B-list Avengers kind of become A-listers.
Yeah,
You know,
that's
like
just
Hawkeye and things like that, and as you say, Falcon and Winter Soldier and WandaVision. It's cool to get these characters and see more of them.
that's just how they're like progressing to the next part of the MCU. They're just trying to bring in like new guys and move forward with some of the characters that have just been at the side.
Which is awesome to see. Like that especially like when we see the progression of even his connection with Red Wing, I thought was really cool. Like before, it was just kind of like he was like a robot basically, but now it's kind of got an AI system. Like he can talk to it and he can tell it to do things. And you almost got like an R2D2 little kind of like at the end of the,
and then
you know,
and then it like literally like repaired itself again. I was thinking about R2D2, so that's funny how you bring that up as well.
yeah, that's pretty cool, man. But it's basically just a murder bot. Let's face it.
Oh
But I'd
God,
like
yeah.
to see some cool. Speaking of murder, actually, before I move
Oh,
on,
okay, calm down, calm down.
there was a lot of like he fucking killed people, man.
He
Like,
like
what's up
blew
with
up
that?
helicopters.
Like people died. People definitely died.
Also, what
And he
happened to
just
that
did not give
plane?
a
I
shit.
can't remember. Like the plane just kind of stopped existing in the episode.
Like he didn't he jump past and he shot something out of his gauntlet or something. It landed on it and just blew the fucking
Yeah.
plane, the helicopter up. Like I was like, Jesus Christ, man, you're an Avenger.
I
Calm
mean,
down.
at least he didn't like he didn't kill like the people that were like skydiving.
True.
He
This is
just
like the classic.
parachuted them.
I don't know, man. He threw someone against a side of the canyon.
Okay, yeah, maybe
They
they're
didn't
probably
survive.
dead. They're probably dead. But
This
like
is like the classic Zack Snyder. Well, Batman didn't technically kill anyone. You know, he
he
just
just
kind
got
of
a gun and shot some
kind of had a
aliens.
gun and blew them up with his car. You know, it wasn't
Oh, who
directly.
cares? Who cares?
I mean, it was still a cool sequence. So then we get to see him sitting down with a character called Joaquin Torres. And for those of you out there who don't know and aren't familiar with this character, and to be honest, I wasn't either. I'll admit I wasn't familiar with this character. He is the second Falcon, and he becomes the Falcon to Sam Wilson's Captain America. And he kind of he's a bit different to Sam in the sense that he's more of a he's not a mutant, but he's like a mutate where he got experimented on by a character called the Power Broker, which we'll get onto later. And he's got wings coming out of his arms. He's got a psychic connection with Red Wing, and he's also got a healing factor. So where do you think they're going with this? Because obviously the natural progression is, oh yeah, he becomes Captain America, he becomes Falcon, right?
Yeah, I think they'll probably go with that route. I don't know. Well, like you were saying about that other guy, whatever his name is,
The Power Broker.
Power Broker. Yeah, that there's like some Easter egg to him. What was that Easter egg again?
Basically, if you look into the credits of the episode, in one of the slides, it says the Power Broker is watching. So maybe he plays a part in this. Maybe he's going to be experimenting on something and creating some enhanced beings. Perhaps even he's behind the enhanced beings of the Flag Smashers.
Oh,
Maybe.
that's cool. If it was
Yeah.
like that, then I'd be more happy because if he's like another villain in this series, then I don't want it to become too crowded because you've already got a few different people showing up, and I don't know. I don't necessarily want it to become like a villain of the week thing, and each week there's just a different like villain for them to take down.
What do you mean that's worked so well for the Flash and Supergirl?
Oh no! Oh no! No!
No, 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 Marvel, no.
Don't even get me started on that. But yeah, where do you think they're gonna go with the Flag Smashers then? Because isn't in the comics it just like one person, and now it's like
yeah, it's the Flag Smasher, and I don't know his name. I could do a quick search, but I think the Flag Smasher is it's a dude and it's one person. And I think it's more the case of maybe they've gender swapped him because I know there is a character in this that's played by the lass who was in Solo.
oh yes, I'm pretty sure that she is that character. Like she's
Yeah.
like the leader of the Flag Smasher. So
because I know they've got the same. Well, I say same name, a similar name, but just obviously gender swapped. Carl, that's it, Carl Morgenthau. So
I'm
I think
sure
she might
there's
be
some
Carly
angry
Morgenthau
people.
or something.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some angry people that don't like the fact that they've gender swapped someone. I mean, does it matter?
It really doesn't.
As long as
I
it's
mean,
like not like
I
a
found
main character, then
I
I don't mind.
honestly don't think many people even noticed. To be fair, like Ghost from Ant-Man and the Wasp. I mean, they gender swapped her, but she was far more compelling than most villains we've seen from of the same gender as the comics. I thought she did a fantastic job.
It doesn't. I don't think it matters. Like, they're not literally following the comics, so it doesn't really matter. Like,
As long as it's not like integral to the character, or as long as the character is not like as well known as like if like for example, I'm not saying that you can't gender swap these characters, but I'm saying kind of like as long as it's not like, oh yeah, Bruce Wayne is now like Brucina Wayne. It's like okay,
Brucina Wayne.
it's like okay.
Yeah, that's true. Like, there's enough like for that. Well, for Bruce Wayne, there's enough like other like there's enough female
Bat
like
family
Bat
members.
family members, yeah, for them to like. There's a Batwoman show. I don't know what the fuck's going on with that, but that's another whole story.
To be fair, I've been keeping up with the first few episodes. I like it. I like Ryan Wilder.
Well,
Okay.
to
Well, that's another discussion for another day,
yes,
I
I'll
guess.
talk to you after about that.
Yeah. So, um, we haven't really talked about the second sort of titular character, the Winter Soldier, Bucky Barnes. What's he up to? I'll tell you what he's up to. He's having bad dreams, mate. He's having really bad dreams.
He's having no. He's got no friends. He's
Apart from the
sleeping on
band,
the floor.
which is a callback to the Falcon and Winter Soldier, actually Captain America: The Winter Soldier, where Cap and Falcon are discussing like what it's like coming back from war, and Falcon's like, "Oh yeah, I used to sleep on rocks, and now I sleep on a mattress, and the mattress is too soft. It feels like I'm." And then Cap's like, "Oh, sleeping on a marshmallow." He's like, "Yeah." So I suppose it makes him feel more comfortable, really.
Yeah, and then he goes on a date. First off, he's watching the
Does
football. I don't know what he's watching, but don't know why
you
he's
know?
watching the football. But
I tried
he
to
is.
tell who he was watching, and I could not for the life of me.
I don't know, but then he goes on a date. Actually, no.
He
Before
was.
that, he's with his old friend. I can't remember his name, but his old friend, who it
I'm
turns
not
out
even. I
killed
think
his
it's just
son. Yay!
exactly. Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to even attempt the name because it's just going to sound racist. Because I don't remember it. I'm going to say something totally wrong.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, not out here trying to get cancelled. But yeah, it turns out, as you say, the old man who I originally thought must have been like a friend from the war or something. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. But apparently not. Apparently, as you see in a flashback, he killed his son when he had no need to. He was just an innocent spectator to one of Bucky's mass killings, and he then went on to shoot him in the head. So that's
Yeah,
sad.
it was interesting.
I mean, he said "Hell Hydra."
Yeah.
That was that was
Oh, he said the
interesting.
thing.
He said the thing. He said the thing. Which, to be fair, I reckon. I mean, we'll talk about it later because I do want to discuss what this could be setting up. But honestly, do think that Hydra is going to make a return.
Well, Zemo is around somewhere. He's doing stuff.
He is doing stuff. He's doing
He's
stuff.
in a notebook, which
He
is
is in the Notebook,
really
the
cool.
movie, the movie, The Notebook,
The Notebook. Yo,
starring Baron von Zemo.
Baron von Zemo.
Is it? Yeah, Helmet Zemo or whatever his name is. I can't remember. But yeah, he's basically Bucky's got this book of a bunch of people that he's killed, and that I should have written down some of the names, to be honest, like he did in the Notebook. But there were a few characters that kind of popped up, and one of them, I believe, was the Power Broker, like his alias or something. See if I can find out what his name is. But yeah, I think the Power Broker was one of the names, and I know there was a few other names in there that link to like Russian scientists and stuff like that, and
Yeah,
people.
that's interesting that they doing that. And I mean, they're clearly trying to tackle like grief and PTSD in this series for him.
Which is awesome. I think it's really cool because there are a lot of a lot. Too many people suffering from that. So it's cool to get some representation not only in gender and race, but also in experience.
Yeah.
So that's cool. So the power broker. Turns out the power broker's real name is unknown. So yeah. So Bucky, he goes on a date with this lass who works at like a restaurant or something that him and his old buddy goes to.
Yuri.
Yuri, that's his name. Yuri Watanabe from the hit Spider-Man game.
Oh no.
So he goes on a date with her, and they're playing battleships. And she's like, "What?" He's like, "What are you doing?" And she's like, "Oh, I'm trying to read your mind." And I thought that was really cool because he's like, "Nah."
Well, she could be
you
a
do not wanna do
mutant
that.
because she literally like guessed all of his battleship places. So maybe
True.
she was reading his mind.
That is true. Maybe she was playing it up as a joke, but maybe. Or maybe. And now this is a wild one, but it's definitely correct, as all my theories are. Maybe she's Mephisto.
I actually think that she is Doctor Strange in disguise.
She's Dormammu possessing Mephisto, possessing this random girl, so he can sneak in undetected.
Her name is Ralph Boner. Yes.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's interesting. And to be fair, what's even more interesting about this episode is the fact that the two titular characters, don't actually cross paths.
True. I thought that whole like plane and like flying sequence was gonna be from because there's obviously in the trailers and stuff, there's the scene where they're both like in the back of a plane and then he jumps out.
He's like, "Oh, what's the plan?" He's like, "Okay, so no plan." That one, yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was going to be like the whole flying through the canyon sequence, but clearly not. So they're going on another plane mission.
I honestly thought that when it was like that establishing shot of the plane and stuff like that, I was like, "Oh, where's Bucky? Is he in here?" Because obviously I was like, "Oh, cool." So they're picking up right on a mission or something. Apparently not. Apparently we don't get to see them together. Apparently Bucky is dodging his calls, dodging Sam's calls. So he clearly wants him for something. Maybe some advice in what to do with the shield, which we should actually touch on. I thought that was going to be Steve's funeral. Wasn't.
He's on the moon, dude. He's on the moon.
He's with the Inhumans. He's with Anson Mount and the rest of the cast of the hit series.
They're in the moon, dude.
Yeah, they're in the moon. Yeah. They're having a great time we're having a grand time with the Inhumans. So yeah. He's given up the shield. And guess who's also there? Boom. You looking for this? Rhodey.
That was such a sick cameo.
I did not expect that, but I loved it.
And it's clear that, like, you know, when they're talking about like the symbol and whatever, like, it's clear that he's still very much grieving over Tony as well.
Yeah, very true. It's kind of like that. We need new heroes, and you could see on that like close up of Rhodey, where he's like, oh, you could just see in his face. He's like, oh man, Tony.
Yeah, that was such a cool like cameo though. I still think he'll appear again in the series. I have a feeling that
Rhodey?
Yeah, like one more time.
Yeah, maybe. I think that'd be kind of cool.
And like
actually, he appears like the end, and he's like, so he's like, oh, so you actually decided to take up the shield then? So you took my advice, huh? See, I told you I'm always right, or something like that. You know, so it feels very.
Boom! You're looking for this?
Yeah. He just throws the shield at him. He's like, "Here, have the shield."
I think they'll try. They might just set up like the Armor Wars series with him at the end.
Yeah, he's like, oh, okay. I wish I could stick around and help out, but you know, I got some shit over here that I need to deal with, which kind of gives us a time frame for things in terms of like this is confirmed to be 6 months after Endgame, 5 months after WandaVision. So, you know, April 2024. So what we're talking?
That's after Far From Home, wouldn't it be?
2 months before Far From Home.
Oh.
So
yeah, that was okay. Yeah,
we're starting to establish more of a timeline now in terms of where things are after Endgame, because like Far From Home is then going to be into No Way Home in December. Hawkeye looks like it's taking place in December, so we're kind of getting more of a gauge in what's kind of happening around the world in sort of post Endgame world, you know.
I wonder how long they're gonna keep going on about Endgame, because like we've seen WandaVision and
I
Spider-Man and this one, that it's all still like recuperating after the whole snap thing. I just wonder
I think
when they're
for
gonna.
years to come, yeah, we're going to be talking about Endgame. I think up until Avengers 5, we're going to be talking about Endgame. Honestly,
They,
that's my honest opinion.
they've got to move on from it, like at some point though.
At some point, but I think it's such a huge event that it's obviously going to shake the entire MCU
Oh yeah, but like,
totally.
I mean, I think just as fans, like people are gonna get sick of it. Like if everything just keeps calling back to Endgame, like they got to move forward.
But you think about it though, like Black Panther has got to call back to it. Hawkeye got to call
Oh yeah,
back.
yeah. But
Like all
like,
these projects that are coming in the next few years, like Multiverse of Madness, Thor 4, they're all, even like Guardians 3, Searching for Gamora. Like for the next, like I'd say 3 years, we're going to be talking about Endgame
but that's the thing though.
until we
They
get to
they
that.
set up an awful lot with that film as well, so
Yeah,
they're
very true.
still going. They're still rolling with it.
They are. Um, so speaking of setup, we get the sense that we're gonna be getting we're gonna be getting some new heroes. Cool. But we also get Rhodey mentioning that these are strange times. Allies are now foes. Alliance is broken. Who do you think he's talking about? Because I feel like everyone I've seen, every YouTube video, they're kind of glossing over the fact that he says, allies are now enemies. What does that mean, man? I mean, my only thought is wonder, right?
Yeah, that was where I went. I can't really think of anything else unless
I'm
it's
going
like,
through every character. I'm like, I can't think of a single person other than Wanda that this could be.
I mean, that could be leading into like Armor Wars if you take it that way. That
Yeah,
there's gonna be a load of people trying to like steal Tony's stuff now that he's gone.
very
So
true.
that could be going that way.
I mean, it could
Um.
be literally anything else that we could see in the future that could fill the gap between WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier as well.
Oh yeah. Um. I think that is a really cool like statement that he said there, and
Yeah,
I think
it's got
it's
me scratching
interesting
my
that you
head.
mentioned that people have missed that, because it could be taken so many ways, and it could be like a really massive setup, and no one's talking about it.
Yeah, like legit. I'm like every YouTube video. I'm like, can anyone give me any ideas to talk about on the after show? Because I got nothing but Wanda here, and no one's mentioned it. And I'm like, wow, okay, this is really interesting. Like,
But again,
that,
it could just
surely
be
this could be a huge takeaway,
it could
or it
just
could
be
be
like a
nothing.
general statement as well, and
That's
something
true.
that we are looking into way too much. But you know what I think that he's talking about?
What do you?
Mephisto.
Yes, I'm glad someone finally said it. Will someone finally put it out there? Mephisto, he's
Mephisto.
coming. I mean, he will be coming. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
At some point when I say Mephisto is
it'll be like
coming, I
10
will be right.
years, and we'll be like, we saw this coming back in 2021.
We're there, like, we're there, like, oh man. Tell you what, 10 years ago, you go watch our old videos. You come back through 10 years worth of content, you'll find it somewhere.
You'll find it.
So, what else is there in this episode? Like Uncle Sam, that's a cool reference.
Uncle
He's an
Sam.
uncle, but he's also kind of like his sister takes the piss out of him in terms of like, oh yeah, Uncle Sam, and she does a little salute thing. It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
he's technically
America.
or he's going to be America's symbol, yeah. So that's cool.
Well, we literally haven't even spoke about US Agent there.
We haven't. But before we do that, quickly, I want to mention what's up with the Avengers funding.
Well,
What's
fun
up
about
with
Ross, I'm guessing.
Yeah, like how did I'd imagine they're kind of like supplied by the government just enough, but they're not actually directly paid themselves. Maybe like in the comics, they're on like a six-figure salary. So I don't know, man.
Well, they did. The guy in the bank was saying like, "Oh, did Stark pay you?" So I guess maybe that he did, because he's a very wealthy guy. He couldn't pay them.
Yeah, he should pay them. If he hasn't, then I'm not very impressed with you, Mr. Stark.
Unless when I guess he technically would have owned like the Avengers facility, so maybe he just went around and went, rent, give me rent.
I would actually pay good money to see a prequel just with Tony doing that.
He's just
Just for
knocking on
Tony
all the
being Mr.
doors in a
Dinklage.
Mr. Dickovich like face mask and rent.
Oh man. But yes, as you said, US agent. It's not for very long, doesn't appear for very long, but
He's there.
he's in the end.
It's interesting his costume that like he doesn't have the star on like his chest like
Yeah.
Cap usually does.
He has it on his kind of like he's on his forehead and on his back. It's kind of like a star and an A all at once. But yeah, that's interesting that you bring that up because obviously he's Captain America, which is interesting because he's normally like US agent. So he's the world's Captain America, and I imagine he'll take up the mantle of US agent when Sam becomes Cap. But yeah, it's interesting to see the direction they're going. Like it's obvious that the government is screwing Sam in the same way that they screwed Steve in the Winter Soldier. Like they're not telling him the right things. They're sending him on missions blind. Like he had no info about that very first mission he was on. So it feels very much like they never wanted the shield for the museum. It was what in my mind what the situation is like Sam's had the shield for the past 6 months, but he's not wanted to use it because he's afraid of the responsibility. And the government is kind of playing on that and be like, well, if you don't want it, then maybe put it in this museum that we've got for to honor Steve. But really, they only want it so that they can create their own sort of Avengers.
I didn't think we were gonna actually see him like this early in the series, but now that makes me think that he's not even gonna be in many episodes because they're gonna get the shield back. Because in the trailers, like Sam and Bucky have it, like where he's throwing it around. So maybe he's only in like a couple of episodes, and they're gonna get it back in like episode 3 or 4.
That'd be an interesting way to look at it, yeah, because they do have it quite a bit in the trailers. There's one where he's throwing it out against trees, which could just be him practicing it in the final episode at the very end. And then he's also using it in battle as well. So who really knows what's going on with this series in terms of fitting everything in, from Zemo to Madripoor to the Flag Smashers to maybe the Power Broker to the history of the Shield with Sire Bradley and Elijah and all this sort of stuff. It seems a lot to handle in only 6 episodes.
Yeah, and then we've also got to go to like Madripoor and like hop around there. So yeah, there's definitely way too much for 6 episodes. And
I'm sure I have faith that they can fit it in though.
Oh yeah, they are. Well, they're not even an hour really. They're like 45 minutes and 15 minutes of credits.
I mean, they're about 50 minutes, which is standard for TV in terms of like like an episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was like 50 minutes.
Yeah.
So.
And it's only meant to be a mini series, so that's fine.
Yeah, exactly. But he definitely like go back to US Agent. He definitely feels like a propaganda sort of machine. Like he feels like Cap was back in the war, where he's like he's carrying a gun. He's winking at the camera. He's making public appearances. Like he's like you always seen from him so far is this public appearance and a public appearance at the Super Bowl or some kind of football game or something. So it probably wouldn't be the Super Bowl, depending obviously on the placement of, but like a football game. Like he feels very much like a we need a public face. It's almost like how Patriot was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which I know you haven't seen, but for those of you who have, it's an amazing show. You gotta watch it. So yeah,
it's also like weird. Like, do you think he's gonna actually like fight, or he's just gonna like hang around and pretend to be Captain America? Because there's he doesn't really strike me as like someone that would want to fight. He does just seem like an actor, and like he's just chilling there, like the wink at the camera. He doesn't even look like built up to be Captain America. I feel obviously like Steve has like the super soldier serum. Like this is just a normal guy. He's just a soldier with a shield at this point.
Yeah, I feel like what it is he's juicing on the same stuff as the Flag Smashers, and he's kind of I feel like he's the public face who's juicing up for when he needs to make some kind of public display of, oh, I'm the new Captain America. Like maybe they're setting up things for him to do to make it look like he's the hero, almost like a The Boys kind of situation. Like he's a bit of a Homelander.
I was thinking of Homelander. I really
Yeah.
was. Even looks like him. I'm not gonna lie.
Really, you think so?
Yeah,
He's got that smirk.
he's got that
little
smirk.
wink.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can do whatever the hell I want.
Mhm.
I mean, I think this is a perfect time to kind of segue on to what do you think this is setting up? Because for me, in talking about the US agent, I'm kind of getting vibes of this is surely a setup for the Thunderbolts, right?
Oh god, yeah. Like I was saying earlier, I think that he's got way more of a part to play in this. Do you think he's gonna like show up in this series then?
Um, I would think so. I mean, I was watching a new Rockstars video, and he said maybe he's like president or something now. Like maybe he has the kind of like the jurisdiction to be like, I'm setting up a military team, power broker. Make some juice for this guy. I'm making my own kind of Avengers. Like I feel like this is the perfect time where the Avengers aren't really a thing to be like, okay, cool. So the Thunderbolts are being set up in America. The Winter Guard is being set up in Russia. This is being set up here. This is being set up there. Like this feels like the perfect sort of power void that people in high places may want to fill. So yeah, I definitely feel like he's gonna get defeated and he's gonna get angry. He's gonna get pissed off. He's gonna have some sort of like personal vendetta against Sam and Bucky. And then it's gonna be like, well, son, you're not alone now. We got this team that you can fight alongside. And I think that'd be pretty cool.
The guy on like the TV, I don't know who he was, but the guy who was like, "Oh, we need this new hero for America." He did say like, "Oh, it was me and like the commander or like the general." I don't know what he said, but he said something along those lines. So maybe that's he's talking about Ross and that. I'm not sure what he said, but it was along the lines of the commander or the general or someone was just part of
cool.
this decision.
I didn't notice that. That's really that's cool. It's definitely a government kind of like it feels like a government trying to take opportunity of, well, this guy right here, this Captain America bloke. Yes, he was America's hero, but he's also a war criminal. So what do? Well, we give the world, we give America a new Captain America. Running under our own jurisdiction. And as I said, maybe in the future they could set up things for for him to kind of like take down in sort of public displays of, yeah, look at me, I'm the hero, I'm the badass.
Oh, I think that he'll just end up as US agent at some point, and Falcon and the Winter Soldier will just beat the shit out of him and be like, "You're not Captain America. Fuck off."
Perfect writing. I love that.
And in terms of fucking off, we better disappear now. So
very true. That's very true. I feel like we covered everything.
We'll be back next week, of course, with this week, I guess, with the part 2, and hopefully it's another really good episode and build more towards some of the stuff that we've seen from the trailer.
Yeah, hopefully get to see Falcon and Winter Soldier actually share the screen together. That would be cool.
That would be cool. Maybe Zemo will get like a bit more information about him and where he's been up to.
I mean, he was on the list. It's
interesting. Do you think he was snapped or not?
That's a good question. I'm gonna go with no.
That would be sick.
Or maybe yes, and he's like, I finally had peace. I could see my family again, and then I got ripped away from it, and I got brought back to this hellhole or something. That'd be
maybe. We'll see though. We'll see.
We'll be back next week to discuss it. Hopefully, a little bit sooner than a Monday episode. Hopefully, Friday or Saturday. So look out for that. Until then, I've been Brandon.
I have been Will.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye. Thank you so much for watching. If you like what you saw here today, then maybe consider subscribing to catch our other content as and when it releases.